Welcome back. It is the BMR NBA Odds Show brought to you by Bookmakers Review. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this video content as well as everything that BMR has to offer. Jay Money is back with me as always. I am Jordan Sharp, and we are here to break down this massive NBA Wednesday slate for you. It's ball night in the association. We'll get into that in just a second, but quickly just want to recap what happened yesterday before we get into today. Of course, Brooklyn, we mentioned a ton of guys in health and safety protocols, ended up getting the win, not the cover. And then the Golden State Warriors, of course, with Steph Curry breaking the record, ended up holding the New York Knicks to under 50 points in that game, or under 50 points in the second half, I should say, under 100 for the game. Ended up getting the win in the cover in that one. Congrats to Steph Curry. Also, a massive under spot. Mad I missed that one. I was kind of leaning that direction, but didn't end up getting that done. And Phoenix, of course, took care of Portland, but didn't get the cover, did they? I was on the total side of things. No, they did get the cover. They won and covered last night. So for me personally, I went 0-1. Didn't hit that first half over in the Golden State Warriors and New York Knicks game last night. Was a pick that I was trying to double down on from Monday or Sunday, I should say. But didn't end up getting it done because Golden State's defense is just miles ahead of everybody. But Jay Money, how'd you end up yesterday here real quick before we get into today?
I did pretty good, man. Unfortunately, I have to bet my games like right before the game time, unfortunately. So, I mean, I went pretty good, 4-0 personally, but it didn't really matter. We was trying to get to today's game. But, yeah, it's actually been a good past few days, to be honest with you. But let's keep it going today, my guy.
Yeah, yesterday was my first loss since Saturday. So, yeah, I felt good. I was one a day. I was only betting once a day, but it still felt good. Try to get this bounce back here spot as well. Speaking of, we got a lot to talk about here in this one. Speaking of betting the games 5 minutes before, we got to get into this first game here. Miami and Philadelphia. Don't want to get too much into it, but obviously Embiid questionable, which again coming off of getting rested basically and scratched last second in their last game. Then Steph Curry also listed questionable here. So if you're betting right now, currently at this point in juncture on the Philadelphia 76ers, and you know something I don't, please let me know because I can't find a reason to. It's absolutely heat or nothing. But for some of the reason here, we're seeing this line lengthen, and now Philadelphia has gone up from 6 to 7 points. Now, I think there's going to be some bouncing around on that number, Jay. I don't think there's no way that doesn't come down a little bit, right? Like, there's got to be some Miami backers here if Embiid and Curry, it looks like they don't get to play. I think Embiid went through shoot around, right? But Curry didn't. Is that correct? How are you thinking about this game first and foremost?
You know what? I just thought about something now. Maybe the game versus the Nets tomorrow isn't so big now with all the guys in health and safety protocols. So I just realized something because earlier just did a show and I'm saying, hey, look, these guys got this. They got the Nets on deck. Could be possibly a look ahead, and they'll still want that game. But without them, hey, they got 5 guys in health and safety protocols. It's not that big of a game. So they'll probably turn up here and beat. Like, what are we doing, man? They risked the guy. I'll keep going back to that. They scratched him out for ribs literally 4 minutes before they tipped off. The real game time had already happened. So, like, say if you're betting online and you tried to cancel your bet, it was too late already. So, but 4 minutes for the tip, Steph Curry, who knows what's going to happen here, man. I like to lean the Heat. They're 8-2 against the spread last team as a underdog, but they don't have Jimmy Butler. They don't have Tyler Hero. They'll need Kyle Lowry to go off, and obviously you need to see if Embiid plays. If he does, he'll probably abuse Deadman and whoever else out there. So just nothing for me on this game.
Yeah, I didn't mention even the Heat side of injuries, obviously, because Butler's still out on a bye. You said Hero just got ruled out an hour ago. Like, yeah, it's just a tough game to even think about here in this case in a spread regard. I think I wrote this up in one of my articles, which we'll get to in just a second. But it's become the day and age in the NBA here, not just even without COVID, but definitely with COVID and health and safety protocols thrown in, that you really have to just wait and kind of know what you're getting at. These morning lines are going to shift around a lot because of all the injury issues that are going on right now. So that's definitely the premier example of that here today is definitely Miami and Philadelphia. But we can move on if you don't have any plays on this one. Let's go to your city. Let's head on down the road to your city real quick before we go to mine. Dallas playing host to the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers taking some money here. Went from a pick'em to -2. Only way I could look at this, like short spreads alone are going to be tough, like I just mentioned, but short spreads are even tougher right now. Only way I could look at this game would be the under here, which is seemingly what the people have been doing as well. Gone down from 215.5 now down to 213. I'm even seeing 212.5 poking out here in this game. Are we going to see a really grinded out pace? Because that's how I kind of look at this game. Is basically the first team about 105 is going to win this thing. Jay, you don't see any differently? You don't think either team's going to try to push the pace in this one, do you?
I don't know. I'm not a pace guy. I'm not a total bidder, Jordan. So to be honest with you, like I lean the under here. Obviously, it's a coin flip type of game. No Luka, but they have shown that they could win without him. Obviously, Brunson would need to step up, but having no Luka here obviously helps out with the under. It's just so tough because you never know what you're gonna get from Porzingis. He could go off, and then the Mavs offense looks really good, or they could, you know what I'm saying? He could get shut down, and obviously then you're waiting on Brunson to have the team on his back. So my problem is with the Lakers. Not all the time they bring that championship defense, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the reason why obviously the NBA is just a different day. You see that game versus the Grizzlies. They were making business decisions in those games. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, they literally like just letting guys go and not even trying to attempt to block, foul, anything. So with that being said, I can't trust the Lakers right now. I'm not laying points with them, and I don't trust them to play defense, lockdown defense on a night-to-night basis. So I get the look with the under here, but like that's the only way I look as well in this game, Jordan. I'd be looking towards the under, but what if the Lakers come in here and say they don't care about playing defense? Then it's going to go into 230. You know what I'm saying? Like it happens.
Yeah, if that's the case too, and I call me crazy, I'm kind of leaning towards your Mavs too. I think that they're getting a little bit too much disrespect without Luka. Obviously, Luka is the premier player in this league, let alone on this team. But also, like, do you get the sense that at least I've only watched them, I think, once since Luka went down, but they played pretty well together. It's not just Luka and everybody else. It's more of a coherent offensive attack. You know, with Brunson, who's just as much of a scorer as he is a distributor. I love Jalen Brunson, a top tier stan of Jalen Brunson over here. But yeah, I mean, I get the feeling that Mavs are being a little bit disrespected here, and I think that plays towards the under. The Mavs showed me that they played really well on defense in the last game. I expect that to kind of continue here at home, I should say, with the Lakers coming in a big game. Nothing else on this game. We could definitely move on because I do have something on this next game. Indiana on the road, I should say here, not at home tonight as they were last game against the Warriors on Monday. They are on the road in Milwaukee tonight, but once again, health and safety protocols have struck to one of the more prolific players in the entire league. Giannis Antetokounmpo ruled out for this game. I also don't think Chris Middleton's going to play in this game. I saw him hyperextend his knee, and to be honest, like that's not an injury you just come back from in 2 days later, man. I've never had one, but it's a week to week kind of thing. Like it's not necessarily. It's December 15th. Here's the staple of this show. It's the new T-shirt idea. What are we even doing? What are we even doing playing Chris Middleton with a hyperextended knee tonight? Is that even why would you even list him questionable? Like he's not playing tonight. I'd almost bank on that'd be the bet I would lock in tonight if I could. If is Chris Middleton going to play tonight? Yes or no on a no. But in regards to that, they still have other guys. Dante DiVincenzo was supposed to make his debut tonight. He got ruled out. Health and safety protocols. Still without a couple of role players. Boogie is dealing with a personal matter. He's not going to play off the bench tonight. They're thin, man. Pacers have been taking money. It would be the only way I could look in this game. Absolutely only way. But the play I do have is on the under. Grabbed it at 218. I think the Pacers, the way they've been playing over the last 5 games is good offensively, but it's been very, very slow. And they're gonna if they have a personnel advantage against the Bucks tonight, assuming Middleton's out, they're gonna grind this game down as much as possible on the road here. And they've actually clawed their way up to 12th defensively on the road this year, which is pretty crazy from where they started the year. If you remember their first 5 or 6 road games, Jay, they were just automatic fade earlier in the year. They've kind of gotten that together since the trade rumors started swirling. That motivation factor's gotten good. So I don't know if you're thinking the same way, but it's maybe a little square. I know, as the Bucks have shown, even without their guys, that they can play well. And Drew Holiday and Bobby Portis going to be prime examples of that tonight. But for me, under I think is the best play here because if the Pacers grind down the pace, and also combined with I think Milwaukee having offensive issues. They scored a ton of points against this Pacers team on the road, but now without potentially their 2 best guys tonight, that could be very troublesome here at home. And also, just to close real quick before I kick it over to you, I do think that the Pacers, I think they only scored 100 points last time at home and 109 the first time they played, both games from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Now going on the road, 19th or 20th, I think, in offensive efficiency on the road. I think they're going to struggle tonight, even with those guys potentially missing for Milwaukee tonight. So got the under here. What do you think about that? What do you think about the Pacers side of things?
Man, this is their chance, right? It seems like I've took the Pacers in games versus the Bucks before. It seemed like I always got burnt. The Bucks seem to own this team, right? Now I always go and look at things. They've never really just played them without Giannis and Middleton. I'm with you. When you hyperextend your knee, I've done it before. I never thought I was gonna walk again, to be honest with you. So it's not something how does he come back this game? I know that this is questionable. It's probably injury report manipulation. We know Giannis is out for sure. Their backup center, Boogie Cousins. I'm with you, bro. I want to take the Pacers here. I think the number is strong as well. Them laying 2 on the road. I don't think it's square because the square looks going to say, oh, Bucks versus Pacers. Bucks as the underdog at the house. This is going to be easy. Like some people don't even look at the injury reports, Jordan. So I like the Pacers here. I hadn't got there yet. I want to take the Pacers. The problem is the Bucks have absolutely owned them. They're 6-0 ATS to past 6. They're 9-1 against the spread. 9-1 against the spread. Straight up against them last 10. So they just can't seem to beat the Bucks. I'll agree. I'll say though, Jordan, this is probably their best chance in those past 10 games. Like I say, they didn't have this is the first time really them not facing Giannis. The last time Giannis wasn't in there, they didn't have Brogdon or Turner as well. So you have a full squad for the Pacers, obviously minus McConnell, but he's got O'Shea Brissett, Keelan Martin. They've been balling. I watched this team versus the Warriors, and I really feel like they deserve to win the game. Like they balled out. Another problem, they were at the house for 6 straight home games. Now they step out on the road. I don't usually like to bet this spot, but it is a big game for them versus the Bucks. Like if they really want to say, look, we're here, if they want to have something to say, I want to take the Pacers here. Heavy lean Pacers. I said all that to say that.
No, I agree with you. On the same side as that. It's Pacers or nothing for me in this spot with Milwaukee, assuming I think you were on the same page and we both believe Middleton's going to sit out tonight. Also, hard to beat the same team 3 times in a row in the same season. In the first, not even 40% of the season gone, that this is the third time these two divisional rivals have played each other. So plus the fact that Indiana's lost the first 2 matchups, add in the fact that, that usually that third meeting, they've kind of figured each other's schemes and offensive sets out by then, especially because they play each other so much already during every other season. I think that for me, that I would be on the Pacers, I think, tonight if I wasn't feeling much better about the under. I think that's kind of where I stand on this game a little bit. So yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah,
I do kind of lean that under as well because the Bucks are still going to play defense. They're going to do that, and the Pacers been playing a lot better defense as well, bro. So and their offense can kind of versus the Warriors. If their offense weren't so one-sided, they would have beaten the Warriors there. So they can go through offensive lapses as well. It's heavy lean Pacers and under, my guy, for sure.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page on that one here. Let's move on. We got Minnesota heading into Denver. This is another total that I was looking at last night and a little upset because it seemed up 6 points. Kind of where I was leaning to because this game kind of seems like Denver is going to have almost zero trouble scoring the basketball here. Looks like the point spread here is about 4 points, so 4.5. I think it'll settle at most shops here. I'm sure that Denver's probably going to be the most popular side of that tonight. Jay, what are you doing with this game? Do you have a play on it here? Because I'm kind of looking at it as like a blank slate that I just can't figure out right now between these two teams.
Well, the Timberwolves are actually pretty simple. If Russell's in there, they're a buy-on team. They have their big 3, Russell and Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns. Without Russell, or really even, I can't say without Karl-Anthony Towns because they can still get it done without him, but Russell is really one of the motors that make him go. People probably forget he was a top pick in the NBA draft. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't like him, or he had some injuries, was kind of all over the place. Russell is a baller in this league, and he can go off for 30. He's liable to go 30 any night. So I don't look towards the bet on the Timberwolves unless they have Russell and Edwards out there. Like to have Cat too. They have all 3. I'd be looking towards the Timberwolves. If he's out, it's Nuggets or nothing. It's really that simple with the Timmies.
Yeah, I would expect Minnesota to probably take a lot of steam if we get word sometime here, at least soon, that Russell's going to play. Because then you're right. He's been one of the better clutch performers in the entire league. Like he's basically like if Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards are kind of the starting pitchers and middle relief pitchers of this team, Russell is absolutely the closer. Like that dude just goes into the fourth quarter and he's like, give me the ball. I'm taking over this game and we're going to win or lose on my back. And, I'll use the other guys too, but it's my time to shine. And they've done pretty well with that formula so far. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, and it shows with these young teams, fourth quarter comes around, it gets a little wishy-washy sometimes without a guy that you can go to. Speaking of Indiana, one of those prime examples this year of you got to be able to close basketball games. You can play as good as you can play through 3.5 quarters, but if you do not put the foot on the neck in the last 6 minutes of a game where you're only up 2 or 3 possessions, most times in the NBA, competent NBA teams are going to come back on you too. So that's kind of where I'm looking at this game. Like, I could see the Wolves just hanging in there for like basically the entire game if they don't have Russell. And Denver could probably pull away with the altitude obviously in play. They have a really good home court advantage. They're relatively healthy comparatively to what obviously they're missing a ton of guys already that have been out all season or will be out the rest of the season, but Denver's still one of those teams where even missing guys, they're still a very dangerous basketball team. So I don't know if I'm going to line up to fade them even if Russell's in, but yeah, I agree with you. Minnesota side of things is absolutely dependent on that. So we can move on real quick. We got one more game here to wrap it up before we close out today's show. We got Los Angeles, the Clippers heading into Utah. Also another one where it's just like, what are we even doing? Nick Batum, Paul George questionable for this one. For me, I don't want to prematurely say that the Clippers are a value because we have to know George's status, like just has to. That's just a fact. Batum is kind of more of the dessert to George the entree in this injury situation here because Utah could very well hold these guys to under 100 points tonight if both of those two guys sit out. I could see that very easily happening here tonight with a 9-point spread and a total of only, 217 and a half points. So for this one, you got to know what George is doing. So late night game, we're going to have the luxury of waiting till about hopefully the 9 o'clock hour Eastern time before we figure that out. But for me, I don't think I can lay points with Utah here just simply because that would be the kind of thing that if George does sit, that would be them making them relax a little bit, I could see. So definitely kind of staying away from the spread side of things. But for me, the under, I think, could have very good value if George sits because the aforementioned, like I said, the Clippers would have a very, very hard time scoring against this Jazz defense if that's the case. So is that the way you're looking at it, Jay? You have another, or do you have another look on this one?
Yeah, I want Paul George to get in there. Today's NBA is just different, man. It's not the same. I feel like if George sits out, they might not take the game serious. They still playoff revenge. The Clippers beat them 2 times. The Jazz won the first 2 games, and then the Clippers won all 4. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell was hobbled there. He wasn't 100%. I know he's pissed off. I know they've been working all summer. Like, okay, we can't wait. These are one of those circle spots. We can't wait till we play the Clippers, the Smack City spot. They do come back to the house off a 4-game road trip. I don't like hopping on teams when they first came back at the house, but with 2 days off rest, with them having this one circled, looking ahead to this one, I agree with it going up from 8 to 9.5. This is one I probably say I don't really care if George is in there or not. It's the only way I'm looking at this one is Jazz. I know the Clippers have been playing really well, but they're playing over their head. If you ask me, I don't think the Clippers are this good of a team. Obviously, they're still missing a ton of bodies. I think the Jazz will. I think this one will get ugly in the second half. It's Jazz or nothing for me here. Heavy lean to Jazz for me, my guy.
I didn't even realize that before you just mentioned that they haven't played since this past Saturday. That's crazy. That is a very huge advantage, even with the red, like you said, even with George not included. This is also run it up time for the Jazz. After this game, yeah, you just mentioned it. This is the start of a 6-game homestand, and this is San Antonio, Washington, who's struggling, Charlotte, Minnesota, Dallas. Potentially on Christmas, and then San Antonio and Portland on the road before they play Minnesota back at home, and then Golden State on New Year's Day. That's a very winnable stretch of games. They're already have won 7-8 in a row right now. That could get even longer. We could be talking about a Jazz streak like we were the Suns here. If they get down close to Christmas time, they've still won all these games. So yeah, you're right. A lot of motivating factors here. I didn't really think about it that way, but even then, I think the rest advantage for sure helps their defense a lot. Add in if George doesn't play, yeah, we got to take an under spot for me. So that's how I'd look at that one. Got over pretty quick today, but we could go to our official plays here for Wednesday and wrap it up for you. Just get you out of the way. Only one for me today. I'll go first. I got the under 218 in Pacers Bucks down to 217. I really like this spot. It's probably one of my favorite on the card. Definitely not touching too many spreads today. But I think the totals are where you're going to get the action here if we continue to see injury issues. Jay, what do you got for him?
Yeah, I'm on Nets. I'm on Nets and Warriors 2-team money line parlay, man. Plays plus 100. Appreciate everybody for watching, man. Love doing the show with my guy Jordan, with my guy Junior as well, man. But nothing official for me today. Heavy lean towards the Pacers and under. Heavy lean to the Jazz, my guys.
Yeah, that Nets Warriors is a little bit stale, but that did cash yesterday, by the way, from the lower third there. So shout out to Junior for that. He's dealing with some personal issues right now, so we got to prayers up to Junior. Obviously, he'll hopefully be back on the show as soon as possible, but that's why he isn't here today. But yeah, it did cash yesterday, so hopefully we can cash today for everybody. If you jump on anything, obviously I'm sure you'll let the people know. So shout out to Jay Money on Twitter. Obviously, go give him a follow. Definitely giving out good information, always on the lives. You got to check out his lives. Definitely a good spot to get some good information for the NBA slate because he does it a lot. So grinds hard on that. But yeah, for my guy Jay Money, I'm Jordan Sharp. Thanks for watching. Obviously, again, like, share, and subscribe to this content. Gotta get a like at least. If you feel in the season of giving, give us a share and a subscribe as well. But yeah, for Jay Money, I'm Jordan Sharp. Best of luck to you tonight. We'll see you tomorrow on all your NBA picks tonight.